Dear Dean of the Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile, Mr. Ignacio Sanchez, dear President of CMPC, Mr. Luis Felipe Gacetua, dear participants, thank you for giving me this opportunity to elaborate about the Swedish experiences regarding sustainable development and how to build a modern welfare society based upon natural resources. I am today chairman of a mining company in the north part of Sweden. I am also chairman of the board for a bank, one of the big banks in Sweden. Beside that, I'm living my life on the countryside, on my own farm, just outside Stockholm. It's a good life, but I still take part in the political debate in Europe and in Sweden with my experience from the business society, but also from the practical work as a forest man or a farmer, whatever you want. It's a good starting point for a discussion, I can assure you. I learned during many years as Swedish Prime Minister that it is impossible to create something that will last if it's not based upon 3 pillars. First, you need to have an economic, realistic calculation about everything you are doing. Second, you need to focus upon a fair social distribution in the society. And third, there is always an environmental dimension to all projects you are engaged in. These 3 pillars are the fundament for a sustainable development. If you take one away, the 2 others will fall. So you need to be successful in all 3 respects. The Swedish experience is when we are failing in one of these 3 dimensions, our society is not developing in the right direction. So therefore, when I'm sharing with you my experiences as a former prime minister, a former mayor as well in a little city, and a former minister of finance, it is with this broad approach to the expression sustainable development. Once Sweden was the poorest country in Europe. It's not more than 120 years ago. At that time, 25% of our population emigrated to the United States. Then we started to build our export industry. It was based upon natural resources. It's water, and there you have the hydropower. It is ore, copper and iron ore, and it is forest resources. All of them taken care of by an advanced industry based upon research and development and a close cooperation with the universities. Constantly trying to develop how you are using these natural resources. When we are failing to do so, develop the process, we lose our competitiveness. And often also it is combined with a situation where we can see that the environment, the degradation, is going in the wrong direction. So it takes constant focus upon the development and upon research and close collaboration with universities. It is a clear signal from the state to the universities and to the big companies. We need to cooperate. If we don't do that, we will lose our competitiveness. So therefore, constantly develop the products, constantly develop what you are doing on the markets, because if you are not the winner on the market, you will destroy the natural resources you are using for industrial production. We have stuck to this approach. We have had political debates about it, of course, during the years, but as a fundament for a Swedish development, it has been there for the last 100 years at least. For me, it's important to underline that it's not only about the universities. It's also about the school system. It's also about sending the signal that we have to take care of everyone who can participate in the production, delivering good social conditions and good pensions. It is the whole broad approach. In that case, you might also be successful in taking care of the biodiversity dimension. If you fail taking care of the biodiversity dimension, you will on today's market be punished. You can use these natural resources if you are skillful in taking care of the biodiversity dimension. That demands a close cooperation with universities, NGOs, and others who are heavily engaged in this sector. But never ever ending up in a situation where the biodiversity is looked upon as something that will make it impossible to take stock of and use natural resources in an industrial production. Just now, we are focused upon a discussion about climate change that takes place in all countries in the world. We have recently experienced the Glasgow conference, the summit. It is one of many, and there will follow such conferences also for the future. Some regard them as failures, and some regard them as successes. We must be realistic when we judge about the outcome. The most important thing is that they are gradually pushing the direction, the development in the right direction, gradually. Doesn't go quick enough, some think. Others think it's go too quick. But no doubt about that they are able to put these issues on the agenda. The strange thing, or the good thing, is that we are literally discussing exactly the same items around the world at the same time. When you in Chile is discussing climate change based upon the results in Glasgow, we are doing the same thing in Sweden. And they are also doing the same thing in Tokyo or in San Francisco. Wherever you go on the globe, these conferences set the agenda for the political discussion. It is a truly international political development. You can, of course, express your dissatisfaction, saying it's not going quick enough. I can agree. But on the other hand, it is the agenda setter No one forbid anyone to take more initiatives, go faster compared to the agreements in, for instance, Glasgow. This has gone on, this type of international conferences, for the last 50 years. I participated myself as a very young man, as a hanger-around in the Stockholm Conference 1972. That was about the environment. That was the way we expressed it at that time. Since then, I have followed all international conferences regarding environment, and today we are discussing it from a perspective of climate change. They will continue. They will deliver. They will surprise you sometimes, and sometimes disappoint you, but they will be there, and they will set the agenda for the development for the coming years. Compared to this, you have another development that is also extremely important to understand, and that is the activities taking place on the ground in the daily business activities. I can see just now a wave of investments, all based upon, is this sustainable or not? I can follow it in my own iron ore company, where I can see how much we are investing to be able to produce the first carbon-free steel. And there you have another driving force, and that is to be the winner on the market. And it is taking place just now all around the world. That makes me optimistic, because it is of much bigger scale than I thought it should be, and it's going quicker than I thought it should do. I am an optimist about our ability to handle climate change. I am definitely of the opinion that just now is things taking place on the ground that will change reality regarding climate change. And there are those who say that some big countries, we don't need to mention their names, but some big countries are not constructive. They are not playing together with the others about the negotiation results, for instance, in connection with the Glasgow conference. They might not be constructive, but when it comes to their business activities in their companies, their big companies in their country, you can be sure about one thing: they will not put themselves in a position where they will lose the race. If you go there, you can see investments, you can see optimism, you can see economic resources, capital invested in new products and new methods. So there you have them. And I'm convinced those who take the lead in this investment-led offensive, they will also be those who will be the winners on the market. And those who win on the market will be those who decide, together with the politicians, about the new practical regulations regarding how to build and how to take care of the climate change problem. I am an optimist based upon what I see, not least in my daily work in my own iron ore company, where we just now is investing in new green electricity, new mining activities, new equipment. It's new everything, investing perhaps something that will be around $75 billion. We are not doing that because we think it's to waste the money. We are doing it because we think we will be the first company who produce carbon dioxide-free steel without the carbon footprint. And you can see the same type of ambition in every business sector. Be the one who take the lead, be the winner on the market, using all the demand built up in an international political debate linked to big conferences like the one in Glasgow. There you have the logic, and there you have what will continue to take place the years to come. For us in Sweden, it has been necessary to use our forests. That is because Sweden de facto is a forest. If you come by air to Sweden, you can see our land is covered by forest. 70 to 75% of our land is forest. Therefore, it's also a basic prerequisite for our industrial activity. We have always had the ambition to be careful about the biodiversity dimension, but nevertheless using our forests. Constantly, we had told ourselves, if you cut one tree, you have to plant 3 new. The nursery is extremely important. The silviculture is extremely important. How to do this professionally on the ground, in the forests, is crucial. Because without growing forests, there will be no forest industry. And without forest industry, you will have smaller chances to combat climate change. There are those who say that let the forests stand, don't use them, protect them. They are wrong. If we use our forests, then we plant new trees. New trees are growing fast, and they are, so to say, binding carbon dioxide when they are growing. New trees will underpin an industrial sector that produce products that are wood products that store carbon dioxide. And many of these products are also products that will replace, substitute other products, steel, cement, for instance, in the construction sector, that is heavily carbon dioxide infected. So using our forests, taking care of the biodiversity, that is to send the signal that we understand that we can do something practically to combat climate change. It is also, in Sweden, a big sector, of course, as it will become in Chile with your well-known international forest activities. And with a new institution like the one you are inaugurating today, you will be among those who take the lead in the development how we can use our forest to combat climate change. Nothing is more important than that today. Let me say one thing about those who are practically working in our forests. I could also reflect upon the situation for farmers, because we are often talking about the green revolution as something that is needed to combat climate change. But there will be no green revolution without farmers and without forest workers, someone who are carrying out the practical work with a high degree of professional skills. If we forget that, when we will slip back again, it's not enough with a new institution faculty on a well-known university. You need also those who practically are carrying out the new methods and ideas on the ground. And when I'm looking around, most in Europe, of course, but also in the rest of the world, I can see working conditions for farmers and forest workers who are not the best, to express myself mildly. In Europe, it's going quickly in a direction where the farmers are under pressure and becoming fewer and fewer, and their farmland also is degraded. The same about forest workers. We need to take care also of that dimension. Otherwise, it's meaningless to discuss how to develop a forest industry and how to cooperate with universities if no one is prepared to practically carrying it out together with those who are educated on good universities as yours. This is, to summarize, the pillars for sustainable development, using the forests, having a fair distribution, always taking care of your economy, never mismatching your economy. Today, as a banker, I am a little bit afraid of the development regarding inflation. It's difficult to say where it will end up. But if inflation is coming back in our economies again, and do so broadly, then we have a new type of problem that we have to deal with. On the other hand, we need a lot of economic resources, capital, the coming years. So the quantitative easings, often linked in the debate to the inflation risk, the quantitative easing might be a prerequisite for the investment wave in a new and modern industry using natural resources in a biodiversity sustainable way. So it is complicated, yes, but on the other hand, if it weren't complicated, we hadn't had the use for excellent universities as yours. Now it is more attractive, the university, than before, because you have added one more faculty. Thank you once more. This has been, for me, extremely important, because it is an expression of how we can cooperate from different parts of the world. If you take a look up on the globe, you will see Chile on the south part of the globe and Sweden far up in north. But we are dependent upon each other, and we have to cooperate. This is what today's event sent the signal about. It is also extremely important to say that this is nothing that only can be done by the industry or by the universities. It is the whole society. So therefore everyone has to be engaged. The government, of course, other authorities as well. But you must send the signal, this is something we have to do together. And therefore, if we are successful in that respect, we will also in the end be successful in taking care of the globe for the next generation's sake. Good luck.